Another interesting story I wanted to talk to you about was, I mean, to be fair, it's coming in from that Luckhurst in the Sun, but to be honest with you, he is a bit of a, club hack in the sense that, he's on he's a client journalist. So, saying Manchester United have to qualify for the Champions League if they are to have any chance of signing Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton. Anderson is of interest to United, but well-placed sources say they would not be able to compete with front-runners Man City on Anderson's salary unless they are back in the Champions League. Look, I don't dispute this story because I think the club are starting to leak out now that they are going to struggle to sign Anderson. As we were discussing yesterday, Anderson served his purpose for Manchester United. You feed it out there to Ornstein and Romano and all the other journalists that Anderson's the number one priority. And, we can bookmark that. We can go back and show you the screenshots of that. Anderson has been Man United's number one priority from September to the start of February. Conveniently, that distracts people from not buying a player in midfielder in last summer or this January's transfer window. But now we're approaching reality of where Anderson's going to go in the summer. United aren't saying he's number one priority anymore. They're talking about challenges. Now, you can wake up to that reality or you can pretend it didn't happen. But I know it, you know it. There's been countless stories over the last 6 months about Elliot Anderson being Man United's number one priority. And the closer we get to this summer transfer window, the more that story's changing to, we admire him, but it's a challenge. So he's gone from top priority to admired and a challenge. And that's happening more and more. So, look, I think Man United will qualify for the Champions League, so I don't really pay much attention to United need Champions League football if they want to buy Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton, because I think we will get it. But even with it, words like Man City are front runners, deal almost done, willing to pay him £250,000 a week, I think it's over before it's even. If it was ever beginning, I think it's over, because I think even with Champions League football, we're not going to give him what Man City will offer. We've seen with Bruno Fernandes, you get what you pay for. I mean, I've got no intention of watching that Newcastle game back again, but it's incredible how badly we played, and yet Bruno Fernandes did create. I mean, they weren't all sitters, but he did create 5 chances in that game, and we pay him £300,000 a week. You get what you pay for. So, look, as far as I'm concerned, Elliot Anderson on £250,000 a week is absolutely fine if that's what Man City are offering, because that's what it's going to take to not have to walk away and say we tried. So, and also, like, the way he's played for Forest, and if Man City want him, there's a very big chance that he's going to. I mean, the worst thing will be seeing him playing the midfield for Man City next season and going, he is brilliant. And United going, wow, we didn't want to offer £250,000 a week. And I think we should. And I think we won't. And I think we're moving further and further away from that deal. But the interesting thing is, I don't think Adam Wharton contextually is going to be a lot cheaper than Elliot Anderson, and that's my concern about Wharton. I do like him. I think he's a decent player. But the gap between Elliot and Anderson and Wharton, to me, is Wharton here and Anderson there. But the price and wages is probably going to be like that. So we get somebody who's a little bit worse for the same amount of money, and I think United need to be very, very careful of that.